Tina Trevino with Latin Biz today, and I am with Cristie Besu. She is the founder of Eat Me Guilt Free, which is a product line, actually an amazing product line. I can attest to that. Of bread, brownies, snacks, tortilla wraps, and all kinds of healthy food that are alternatives to people who want to have great food, but also have things that they know when they eat them are going to be good for them. And also, Cristie has an initiative that she has actually launched already, which makes it even better to want to try her product. So welcome, Cristie. I'm happy to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And Cristie's coming to us from Florida, so she's got a little bit nicer weather than I do today.
Yeah, a little warmer.
So why don't you tell us, before we jump into the product and your company, why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself and your upbringing, just to get us started about you personally?
Yeah, so I am Latina. I was born and raised in Miami. I spoke Spanish, I guess, as far as being Latin. Before I spoke English, I think I learned how to speak English when I was 5. As far as like a career, a business background, I was a registered nurse in the hospital. I worked in the emergency room for almost 9 years. Fitness was like my hobby. So since I kind of needed a second job because I was a single mother of 3, I started, since fitness was such a big deal, and nutrition, like kind of figuring out my own nutrition plan to compete in like figure and fitness competitions was, something I guess I became good at. I started helping people in the hospital, and I got certified to be a sports nutritionist. So slowly but surely, I kind of phased out after working both jobs the last 3 years of being in the hospital. I phased out and solely worked on nutrition.
Wow.
With clients. Yeah, my first clients were all like the doctors and nurses in the hospital. And then that's where Eat Me Guilt Free was kind of born, because I started to hear the same things over and over. People felt guilty about eating things like bread, tortillas, brownies, sweet things, particularly in the afternoon. People were craving.
Right.
So,
I think bread and anything gluten got a real bad rap here in the last few years. So,
yeah, no,
if you can make an alternative for people, then that's great. Did you have a liking or someone when you grew up who kind of got you into baking or food? Was that something you grew up with, or this came out of a health kind of nutrition concept really for you as you got older?
I want to say my dad is a foodie. So I think that I've always like enjoyed food, period. And I've always watched everyone in my family cook. So I think it became really important to me to be able to tweak recipes. Like I'd always take something that, would have a bad rap
Right.
and try to make a better version of it. And I did that a lot in with my nutrition clients and with myself first.
I think that's funny because I think as Latin people, food is a big part of our culture. And growing up, same thing, I have parents who every time you would eat, there was a tortilla or a side of rice with whatever you were eating.
Of course, yeah. And just learning how to switch out the ingredients, like sometimes I'll just use like cauliflower rice and,
right.
things like wherever I can kind of swap
Help
things
yourself.
out. Yeah, that's how I kind of got started. And then I started doing the same thing with ingredients, because before I went to nursing school, I went to school for biology. So biochemistry for me I really like it. So when I kind of see a formula or what I think something can do an ingredient, it's just fun for me. So
That's cool. That's a great background. You come from it a couple of ways, both the food side and also the chemistry of what, the food combinations can be. So what year did you actually start the company?
I incorporated it in December of 2014. And
Okay.
I think it was our first month of sales, real sales on our e-commerce website. I was selling them to my clients, I want to say as early as 2013, like in trays and saran wrap, with not even stickers on them back then.
That's
Yeah.
good. It's a good test trial run with everybody. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, it was local, and then I ended up kind of sending them to people on Instagram, because that was when Instagram was also
when it was really kicking off.
Yeah, was in, it was very not curated and beautiful. You just kind of shared what you were doing.
Right.
And I think my followers grew, there was kind of became part of the journey and part of the process, like
Right.
what flavors I was going to do and whether they liked it or not and what they wanted. I kind of incorporated their opinions on what
That's
they
a
want.
great place to kind of get people's feedback on what they like and certainly what they don't like. So the business, when you were starting to do this, how did you decide you were going to start the business? How comfortable were you with kind of launching the business? Because you started it from wanting to do it for your own health reasons, but then it's going to become a business, and that can be uncomfortable for somebody who may not have that background or anybody else in their circle of mentors to help them with. So how was that?
Definitely, it was scary, but I think that I got really motivated when I saw the reaction that I got. When I first launched the e-commerce website, I started getting orders, and month after month, it grew like significantly. So I want to
Wow.
say it wasn't just motivating. I guess it was validating, right? I was really
Yeah.
scared to do it, but I was quickly validated by my sales. And I think that helped me kind of be less scared
Right.
to move forward. I want to say year 2.5 years in, 3, where most people fail.
Right.
I was, close
You were
to it.
kicking.
Well, no. I started to since I didn't have a background in business, I that first year I did really, really well in sales. And then I didn't know really what to do with it. Like I didn't know what a profit and loss was. I didn't know, what a cash flow was. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I just kind of had to YouTube and Google everything and learn, where I stood financially, because I started to take out like expensive merchant loans. Like being an e-commerce store, that's something that gets offered to you all the time. And I had to work my way out of that. That was
Wow.
really, really scary.
Well, I think it's great. Like there are places you can go to look for information online these days to help you in business. Did you end up taking any other courses or bring anybody else into your company at all? Or are you strictly still doing a lot of this on your own?
Well, now I've gotten much better at finding people that are better at things than I am, which I think is, something that is really important is to do. At first, my accountant, I think, kind of gave me a little bit of he was nice enough to give me a little bit of a background of what I needed to kind of learn and understand. He didn't necessarily, teach the
Right.
class. I didn't go to school, but he just kind of said, this is what you need. And then I started to really understand it. Like he laughs now. He's like, wow, you're like an accountant now. Like I know the difference between accrual and that's not going to work this way. The balance sheet isn't going to. And he's like, wow. So yeah, I think early on, the few people that I did hire that I could afford to hire, like, like an accountant, like he helped me out a little, at least by giving me some sort of an inkling of which direction. And I think having the financial difficulties of having those expensive loans,
Right.
I don't know, sometimes adversity and stress really forces you to teach yourself.